Okay. You ready? Hey,
Sure.
welcome it. I'm
Oh,
sorry. Are you?
no,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry. I am ready.
You took so long to answer, man.
I have delayed reactions. What can I say?
Welcome in. It is another edition, week 2 of swing season here as the PGA moves on. We saw last year things open up. Now week 2 of the season, if you will, as we'll move on to Quail Hollow. We, of course, Ben, Rasa, myself, Chris producing, have to look back at what was, however long you want to take, Ben, by all means, to look back, even if it's just a quick glance at swing season opening up. But look, the reality is we're still inching closer. We have match play. We have international play at Quail Hollow. So there is some intrigue. Value may be gone, but intrigue is not. So we do actually have a little bit to talk. I don't want people thinking like, oh man, these guys have nothing to talk about. We actually do have some things to talk about and some money to make.
Of course, it's the President's Cup. I love the President's Cup. I love the Ryder Cup. I think it's awesome. It's once, we don't get to see this often at all, every couple of years. It's a great opportunity. We're going to break down from a betting perspective what we can find out there. But, when we talk about golf, it's the same each and every week. And this is totally different. This is basically an off week with a special type of event. We get to see some of the world's best on the international stage take on the Americans, and that's always a really fun challenge.
Yeah, and all right, so what do you want to talk about from last week? Is there
Well,
anything at all that you want to get out before we move on to this? Because you're right, from format, we also have Live to kind of touch on as far as how this is impacting the President's Cup, clearly. So there are some things we need to look at moving forward, but do you even want to look back at last week at all?
I mean, I don't I'll put it like this. I put out my tweet. You could always follow that at JazzRaz DFS. I believe Max Homa was in the old fade column. I thought the only takeaway that we can really bring here is I wanted to see what some of the few guys who are actually participating in the President's Cup, were they there to get some reps or were they there to seriously play? And Max Homa proved he's ready to go. Decky was fine and Corey Connors was terrible. So it was one of those kind of mixed bag situations. I don't think we can read a ton into that. If you want to talk about the golf itself, I know a lot of people were watching football, including me, but I've never seen, or I can't really remember seeing a guy, lose a tournament quite like the way Willett lost it, where he had basically like a 3-footer to win it. And Homa chipped in, and then he missed that, and then he missed the one on the way back. Just a truly ridiculous melt. And you feel bad for Willett.
I was going to ask you, what was a worse meltdown? Was it Baltimore or Willett?
Oh, my God. It was the Browns. The Browns was worse than all of them. It was.
You cost a lot of people. The Browns on your surprise. That wasn't your main one, Denver.
No, the Broncos. Thank God. They almost lost too.
But you're right. I mean, like the way in which Willett lost that is comparable to the Dolphins, who I think snapped like a 710 game streak as far as any team down that deficit in the fourth. So you saw some crazy shit across the board, cross sport by all means. But now, yeah, anything you want to take from that, I think Homa's going to pop up here a little bit. We'll talk about that moving forward. So let's look big picture. We'll glance across the board. Remind everybody here, part of the fastest growing sports betting community on YouTube. You want to be part of it. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, hit that notification bell. And look, we've got a bunch of opportunities for you below that you can take advantage of. Tons of sportsbook bonuses that you should be able to take advantage of. Odd Shopper, right? That's part of the title. We're giving you multiple places of value across the board. You can't win if you're only at that one spot. So that's all, right? Just take advantage of what we can and what we can provide here below.
Absolutely. I mean, when we talk about betting on Odd Shopper, one thing we all reference at minimum is shopping the lines and making sure if it's just like anything else. If you're going to do something, if you're going to bet, why wouldn't you take the best price available for the same bet? And there's easy ways to do that. We have tools at oddshopper.com that do that work for you. So if you're going to do that, take advantage of the bonuses and get loaded up on these books, and then you'll be ready to rock for the entire season.
All right, so let's look here at the President's Cup, Quail Hollow. The format, I think, is going to be key. The value is also going to be factored in with who is now impacted by Live, clearly. So let's look at the overall format. We're back to match play. We're back to international match play. We had some nice little tastes of that last season, right? Especially down in New Orleans, but now back to big time match play. So we have a couple of different formats, including the singles on Sunday.
Yeah, that's where it gets where everybody has to play. And then, earlier you're going to have 4 balls and foursomes where, it's alternate shot, or you're playing, kind of the team best ball, the 2-on-2. And we've seen time and time again, chemistry plays a role. Like there are some guys that naturally are, and we see this at Zurich. You just alluded to that in New Orleans. Like some guys, they really work well together. And they're able to get a pairing they're very comfortable with. And that's going to be a factor here. But, when you look at the format, you're going to see some people, you have to play at least once before Sunday, and then everybody has to play in the singles. Everyone gets matched up. That's where the depth of the team comes into play, because you can't hide your quote unquote bad players down there. Everyone has to go on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think, all right, let's look at this too, and then I want to follow up on that point you made, and then we can kind of talk about Liv and the value that's pretty much gone now with how things have shifted. But who are you looking at that you think fits the bill of somebody that gets hidden until Sunday, somebody that really stands the greatest risk on both sides of only playing one time, right, before Sunday, or the minimal amount of times based on what happens on Sunday? That's also going to impact where you see this guy with any value, especially if there's long shot value and thinking, nah, I'm not going to get enough action from him.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at the teams, there's some big names that we knew were going to be here, and then there's some guys that were, I think, reasonably say maybe like the last man in, and certainly for the international team, you've got some guys that I didn't expect to be here. When you talk about Sebastian Munoz and KH Lee and Mito and guys that are up and coming, but I don't know how much they're going to be tasked to do. And then you've got guys like Kisner and Billy Ho, even Cam Young to an extent. It's an incredibly deep and powerful U.S. lineup. So not everyone can play in every subsection. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then I think it's kind of tying into our next topic, who translates the best to Quail Hollow? Because this is a course we see each and every year, and we know what it demands off the tee. Who fits the bill and who can really thrive in this environment?
So let's start there, because I'm trying to find that middle ground of, because clearly this is a different format. Therefore, the show is going to be a different format. We're going to breeze through what we can here, especially since we don't even have the matchups. We're just looking at this super early in the week. With that said, where is the top point scorer? Even if you wanted to have this narrowed down to like top rookie, and we'll talk about that because I have a player too I wanted to bounce off you, but where do you begin trying to find the best value for just top point scorer, knowing that you have to match a guy who's going to be out there, a guy who's going to be playing well, and not having risk of sitting any of these days?
So I think what I would say to that, and we'll dive into the teams in a second. Logically, let's not bury the lead. The U.S. is a massive favorite. They should, in fact, win. So it stands to reason that the top point scorer in this event would be an American. It's something that I think that's pretty obvious. The books know that. So if you're talking about how to identify something like that, first, I think you want to work out, what do you think is going to happen? Because if you think the internationals win or it's very close, that would change how I would go about this. And like I said, when I think about Quail Hollow and what you need off the tee, certainly the Americans have an advantage. I think the U.S. team is incredibly deep. They've got more top-end players. And that's the last thing I want to say before we dive into the teams themselves. The live component of this affected the international team a lot more than it affected the U.S. team, in my opinion.
That's really where I want to focus on my main guy, that I think there might be a pathway to create that middle ground of value for somebody who maybe out of necessity is going to be playing a little bit more than he would if Liv didn't decimate, to use the term so aptly that you did. So let's start with you. You're looking at the top, you're looking at top middle. Are you approaching it from individual success at Quail Hollow? Are you looking at this more from where the team is, especially because I imagine we're both leaning USA pretty heavily. So are you looking at just from the matter of individual, or are you looking at the format where you can take advantage of?
So, like you said, we don't know. We have to try to infer who's going to play where, who could be paired up together, and who might face off against who, because that matters too. Like, you kind of hope
Right.
your guy draws an easier matchup. You don't want to go against the big guns of the other team. So I'll take the international team first if I can. When I look at this team, certainly you've got a couple of veterans on it that are going to be really asked to do the heavy lifting. Hideki comes to mind. He's got a lot of experience. Certainly Adam Scott has like a crazy amount of experience, but I'm not sure exactly, honestly, how good he is at this point. So I'm going to go, there are a couple different options of what we can do, and they have some props out there where it's specific categories for the international team. And I'm kind of interested in that. So we have one top international captain's pick point scorer. So of the players that were a captain's pick, who will perform best? And those names, Siwoo Kim, Cam Davis, Taylor Pendrith, Bez, Munoz, and KH Lee. I'm going to throw out my boy Cam Davis. Rookie, debutant, ready to roll. We've seen him a lot in extreme scoring. And one thing about match play, and you've talked about this before, if you hit it into the water and you make a 30, it doesn't matter. You lose the hole. It doesn't. Cam Davis is an electric scorer. He's going to bring a lot of birdie potentials. And when you're playing with a teammate, he can be super aggressive. So I'm interested to see how they use him. I hope he gets some starts. We have never seen him in this format before. I think if the international squad has someone who can kind of rise up, Cam Davis would be that guy for me.
Yeah, man, I love the approach on it. And especially when you look at, you mentioned young in the sense of being the rookie here, you probably get some good odds overall for him if you think that you can stretch that. Top debutante point scorer for, or no, sorry. I thought that he was somewhere else. Yeah, 2,000. So 20-1 for the just top rookie overall.
Yeah, that he's got to go against the US team there, which is obviously a big challenge. You could also get him 6-1 just for the top international debutant, where he's going against the guys like Corey Connors at plus 330. I think it's an intriguing number, but Cam Davis at 6-1 there is another, and it's so wide open. Like Tom Kim, we haven't seen these guys in anything like this. So the Americans. I always say, it's funny when I say the Americans as if I'm not American. I always talk like I'm European. I'm certainly rooting for us.
You're
but
Swiss.
Yeah, right. Scotty Scheffler and those types are on that list. That's why you see 20-1 for Cam Davis. Like if you group in both teams together, you have to go against some of the best players in the world to get by. And that's a much bigger challenge.
Yeah. And I think from a name standpoint, just to kind of look at where I can find some value, it's hard. I mean, honestly, the only place that I can really bet Adam Scott right now is 25-1 as the top overall point scorer. And you're going to need, it's not going to happen, but here's the thing. I look, he's going to play more than I think you and others think. Like he's going to have to play more. And I get it. He's at 42, right? 43. Like he shouldn't be out there playing as much, but the field has been gutted. He's been playing good golf. You kind of just glazed over that. Like he's not a corpse out there. Adam Scott's been playing competitive golf, Rasa. So I think that I want to play him. I want to put him in another category, but he's not in the captain's pick. He's not anywhere else from an international standpoint. The only play is 25-1. And I mean, I feel like those are off. And he's probably going to play 12-1 type golf as far as the amount of golf. But even then, I mean, the value sucked out. So I wanted to mention him because I'm really stuck here. I can't play him at 25-1. I probably like to play him closer to 35-1. But even then, I mean, I think 25 is probably a sharp number that reflects their anticipation that this guy's going to play more than he should.
I mean,
Trevor Imland's got no choice but to play him.
I mean, they're going to have to throw out, I think pretty clearly Sanjay and Hideki are going to have to play every session. Like they have, especially Sanjay. Like he was good in his lone appearance at the President's Cup. I think he might be the best player on this team. They're going to really have to lean on him. If you like Adam Scott, what I'd say is maybe target him in some of his matchups. We haven't seen those.
No choice.
But you can I don't know exactly, the strategy of the captains is always very intricate. Sometimes they go human sacrifice style, like they throw KH Lee up against JT, saying, okay, you know what, we're gonna try to just box out an elite pairing, or Xander and Cantlay, who have so much chemistry together. Like maybe we won't take them on with our elite, or maybe they go right for it and they say, like, give me Decky and Sanjay versus Xander and Cantlay. That would be a big time matchup with a lot of fireworks.
All right. So anybody else? Let's look at the US here. All right. And I think there might be a pathway to one of the guys that you mentioned that's got a little bit longer odds, but I'm sure you're looking closer to the top here, right?
So I definitely am. As we said, Cam Smith, those types, those were gonna be the Neiman leading the charge before Liv took them. On the US side, it wasn't yes, Dustin Johnson and Patrick Reed and Brooks types and Bryson, they all have experience in this, but none of them are playing particularly. Like Scotty Scheffler is playing the world's best golf right now. Rory, who of course is not here for obvious reasons. I don't think the US team is nearly as affected. So I'm going to go to guys that we have seen in this format time and time again. I'll start with Justin Thomas. 6-2-2 in his 10 matches in the President's Cup. So very, very solid. He's got great success at Quail Hollow. Some of his biggest, you could argue maybe his biggest win ever at this course. And you can get him for some pretty appealing numbers. Top point scorer for the entire event, 9-1. I like that number. Top US point scorer, 7-1. Again, you could go that route. I think it's probably better to even take the 9, just because I don't think an international player is going to be the top point scorer. But Justin Thomas, he should be playing the majority, if not every session. Him and Cantlay and Xander are guys towards the top that it's really hard not to look to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to go Homa, although he's had success here. And I think that the number, well, that's the thing. Like, he's been playing great golf. We know that he can play against any field, no matter how deep it is, no matter how strong it is. And we know that he's had success at Quail Hollow personally. So I don't have a problem with Max Homa, but I mean, he's at wherever you're looking at him, he's at the top of the board type number. And where we've always targeted Homa is trying to attack his value more so than just the opportunity to win or to finish top 20. It's always the number that's associated. So I don't know if you feel the same way about Homa. As far as anybody else that we could really target here, I would love to make an argument for Kevin Kisner, because we know how he plays in match play. That's not going to happen. But look, if there's one guy who does just excel, right, in match play and who could go just nuclear here, it would be Billy Horschel. And there has to be a way, Ben Rasa, to target Billy Horschel out here in some capacity, because if it's top captain's pick overall at 11-1, top rookie point scorer 18-1, top US captain's pick 9-1, these are all overall long shot plays. But you can't tell me there's not a little bit in you that's intrigued about some long shot here, and it has to be Horschel over anybody else.
I mean, again, there's, unlike normal golf, opportunity is a factor here. Like, there's not a golf tournament where you say, like, well, I love this guy, but he's not going to get the chance to play all 72 holes. Like, everyone gets the same opportunity. This is not that. So Billy Horschel, I truly don't know. He's going to have to be very crisp. And maybe, hopefully, he gets to go first, and maybe he gets on a run and they say, all right, let's run with this. Because you brought up a point about Max Homa. I'm in total agreement with. He's playing great. He sets up perfectly. It's all priced in, though. I mean, he's almost in the JT range already, and that's a big ask. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to pay. I'd rather play 12-1 Max Homa over 9-1 JT. In fact, I wouldn't. So I get it. I think Horschel's another guy similar to Adam Scott, matchup specific. Maybe I target him with a pairing. We've seen him at Zurich have success. We know he can do it. I just don't know if he'll have the opportunity to play each session.
All right, my friend, is there anything else you want to look at when it comes to, and here's what I would like to say, right? Like, on our way out, we'll hit you with a final card, which is not anywhere near final by any means, but I think let's do this. Let's combine the final card with how you attack the matchups, like how you would, and you could use it hypothetically, like, hey, let's say it's player A, player B. Let's say that this is the pairing, or you can just keep it general, but things are going to change, right? As we get closer to each night getting the pairing. So what changes for you once you have that?
So I think the first thing that'll change is how do they choose to set up the course? We're going to have opportunities to see this in the, the morning sessions, in the alternate shot and whatnot. And then understanding the difference of the formats. Like when you get a guy, I'll reference Cam Davis once again. I think when alternate shot comes around, it's a little more erratic because like his craziness can punish the entire team. Whereas if you have another guy with you and everyone's playing their own ball, Cam Davis can really be crazy aggressive, knowing that his teammate can bail him out, and it's not that they only have one shot at it. So just understanding kind of maybe how those pairings blend, it's a lot more concrete on the US side. There are going to be pairings, Spieth and JT or Cantlay and Scheffler. We've seen it. We've seen it in Ryder Cups. I'm not sure the international team has that because all the pairings of Leishman and Cam Smith and other guys like that, they're not on the team anymore. We've never seen Munoz and Bez and Cam Davis and Tom Kim and Corey Connors compete in the President's Cup before.
It's a good point. And there's a lot of, you're right. I mean, and that's a sense of newness, right? That you don't want to just immediately back when you've got on the other side, and you talked about that from the jump as far as guys that guys that we've seen for sure. All right, let's do this because look, you mentioned when things come out a little bit later and trying to be at least as flexible as you can looking at the pairings. This is a great opportunity, honestly, to remind people that you could take advantage of just getting to Ben into, hey, pairings came out Friday night. What do you think? You can hit Ben and so much of us right up in the premium insider access that we have for you. And again, it's so much of that is just on the spot. Hey, what do you think about this? I get DMs all the time. Somebody asking about some crazy long shot. Ben gets a lot more reasonable stuff sent his way. But the point being is that this is being recorded on a Monday. This is being recorded early in the week. There are things that will happen in this tournament specifically that will happen that we simply cannot tell you about when we're recording this. But if you have access to our premium insider access, you can hit us up at any point, at any time of the day, night, and say, yo, what do you think about this? So I think that sense of urgency and immediacy, Rasa, are just things that nothing can be duplicated like that on any of these videos.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it one step further. These are long matches. A team goes down a couple holes early, in our Discord, we might see something, not just us, someone, a lot of sharp members saying, you know what, I think I'm going to pick this up live. And we talk about that live number. You see it right there. We've got the coupon code, first week free. Come on in and check it out. If you say, you know what, this was cool, but not for me, you at least know what it's about. And we've got a lot of people that have hopped in. I know not everyone's going to stick around, but we've got a lot of people that have stuck around, and we formed a great group of you and me and Eric, everyone you see on the Odd Chopper channel. We're all in there building it up, and it's just the beginning. So another great way to get involved in something like this, where it's a fluid situation, where the captains are going to be changing stuff on the fly. There's no better place to react than something like Discord, where it's instant.
All right, so this will be the loosest interpretation to date of a final card. So why don't you just take it away? I nothing here. We all know that this stuff is changing, like you said, by the day at this tournament. So leave us with a gem on our way out, something we can remember and kind of bet with now.
Just bet the US minus 700, easy game.
There you go.
Don't.
Is there a parlay? Like, can we take Uruguay doing something in soccer or?
All the value. I mean, betting the US a month ago was fantastic. They were sitting like minus 250 and change. It's been going up as more guys have left. I don't think you can do something like there. If you want to go to a correct score, so the US wins by 5 or more points or something, I get it. But I'm really going to focus on what we talked about. A couple golfers on each side. I think that Cam Davis, as an international debutant, has a chance to really represent himself well and fit this format. And then on the US side, I'm going to what I know. I know Scotty Scheffler is an amazing player, and I know that Morikawa and these guys are going to bring it. But Justin Thomas and Xander in particular, I've seen it more than once in the President's Cup, in the Ryder Cup, and getting them at like 7 and 9 to 1 to be that top point scorer is where I'm going to start my card. I can lock those in now and then, get the fine strokes with the matchups as we get closer to Thursday. But I just think I don't want to say no, but I strongly basically know that the US is going to end up winning this. You can kind of shade to them and target some of their heavy hitters to think that they lead the way.
Love it. Love it.
Imagine they
Strategy. No.
They're not going to lose,
Well,
but that would be, it was very close. I will say this last thing, and then I'll stop.
Yeah.
At Royal Melbourne, it was very, very competitive and close. But again, this is one, home field is a big deal. Like this is in Quail Hollow. This is here. That really helps the US team.
At Jazz Raz DFS at Shander Show. Thanks to Chris for producing. Thanks to you out there. Look, we've got links below. Take advantage of these bonuses at all of these books below. That's the name of the game here at the free Odd Shopper site. We're here each and every week. New episodes drop Monday. So make sure that you hit the notification bell so you know when they drop. Hit the thumbs up button. Most importantly, you subscribe and you continue to let everybody else know, your friends, your enemies, anybody that you talk to on a daily basis, sign up at this Odd Shopper channel. They got something good going on. All right, Ben, we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. Let's cash some tickets.